If your history book feels like a thriller, you're in for a treat. The story of Israel and Iran is one of the most complex and enduring geopolitical sagas of our time. It's a tale that spans decades, filled with dramatic twists and turns, ideological battles, and a series of events that have shaped the modern Middle East. To truly understand the depth of this conflict, we need to go back in time and explore the historical, political, and social contexts that have fueled the animosity between these two nations. Today we dive into the heated saga of Israel and Iran. This is not just a story of two nations at odds, it's a narrative that involves a multitude of actors, each with their own agendas and interests. From the superpowers of the Cold War era to the regional players of today, the Israel-Iran conflict has been influenced by a wide array of external forces. Understanding these influences is crucial to grasping the full picture of this enduring rivalry. The roots of the Israel-Iran conflict sprouted in 1979 when the Iranian Revolution toppled the pro-Western Shah. This revolution was not just a political upheaval, it was a seismic shift that altered the entire landscape of the Middle East. The Shah, who had maintained relatively cordial relations with Israel, was replaced by a regime that viewed Israel as a mortal enemy. This change in leadership marked the beginning of a new era of hostility between the two nations. This upheaval gave rise to the Islamic Republic under Ayatollah Khomeini, who viewed Israel as an illegitimate Zionist entity. Khomeini's rhetoric was not just anti-Israel, it was vehemently anti-Zionist, and he saw the existence of Israel as a direct affront to the Islamic world. This ideological stance became a cornerstone of the new Iranian regime's foreign policy, setting the stage for decades of animosity and conflict. Fast forward, and the conflict has morphed into a multifaceted struggle. Over the years, the Israel-Iran rivalry has evolved, taking on new dimensions and complexities. What began as a primarily ideological conflict has expanded to include a range of issues from territorial disputes to regional power dynamics. Each new development has added another layer to this already intricate saga, making it one of the most challenging conflicts to resolve in the modern world. Iran's nuclear ambitions have been a major sticking point, with Israel voicing grave concerns and even threatening military action to stop Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons. The prospect of a nuclear-armed Iran is seen by Israel as an existential threat, and this issue has been a major driver of the tensions between the two nations. The international community has also been deeply involved in this aspect of the conflict, with various efforts to curb Iran's nuclear program through sanctions and diplomatic negotiations. Meanwhile, Iran accuses Israel of covert operations and sabotage. These accusations are not without basis, as there have been numerous reports of Israeli intelligence operations targeting Iranian nuclear scientists and facilities. This shadow war has added another layer of complexity to the conflict, with both nations engaging in a high-stakes game of espionage and counter-espionage. This rivalry also plays out through proxy wars. Both Israel and Iran have sought to extend their influence in the region by supporting various militant groups and factions. These proxy wars have turned countries like Syria and Lebanon into battlegrounds, further destabilizing an already volatile region. The human cost of these conflicts has been immense, with countless lives lost and millions displaced. Both nations arm and support opposing factions in conflicts like the Syrian civil war and tensions in Lebanon, heightening regional instability. Iran's support for groups like Hezbollah has been a major point of contention for Israel, which views these groups as direct threats to its security. On the other hand, Iran sees its support for these groups as a way to counterbalance Israel's influence in the region. Experts warn that the stakes are high. The Israel-Iran conflict is not just a bilateral issue, it has the potential to draw in other regional and global powers, leading to a much larger and more devastating conflict. The interconnected nature of the Middle East means that any escalation between Israel and Iran could have far-reaching consequences, affecting not just the immediate region, but the entire world. With both countries firmly entrenched in their adversarial positions, the risk of miscalculation and escalation looms large. The possibility of a small incident spiraling into a full-blown war is a constant concern for policymakers and analysts. Both nations have powerful militaries and advanced weaponry, and any conflict between them would likely be devastating. A broader regional conflict remains a constant threat. The Middle East is already a region fraught with tensions and conflicts, And the Israel-Iran rivalry adds another layer of complexity to an already volatile situation. The potential for a broader regional war is a real and present danger, and the consequences of such a conflict would be catastrophic for the entire region. Resolving this deep-seated conflict demands diplomacy, regional cooperation, and a shared commitment to de-escalation. While the challenges are immense, there are also opportunities for dialogue and negotiation. Various international efforts have been made to bring the two sides to the negotiating table, and while progress has been slow, there is still hope for a peaceful resolution. Only then can the Middle East hope for a more stable and peaceful future. The dream of a peaceful Middle East may seem distant, but it is not unattainable. With sustained efforts and a genuine commitment to peace, it is possible to overcome the deep-seated animosities and build a future where all nations in the region can coexist in harmony. The journey towards peace is long and arduous, but it is a journey worth undertaking for the sake of future generations.